We're going live? What we doing?
We're live. All right. Welcome back to Sibling Rivalry. I am Lynn.
Is this thing on? I'm Ray. Test, test, test. I don't see us on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm just going with you. I don't
So
see
we're
anything.
actually streaming both from our phones today. We're
Yeah, that's
giving
dope.
it a try.
Let's see how this
So in
lasts. If
order
it
to
actually
use this
lasts.
platform, I have to be on Wi-Fi, which is
Hmm.
perfect because if I'm anywhere in the world, I'm gonna be looking for Wi-Fi in order to, connect
Wi-Fi,
anyway.
which is perfect because there was a delay, but we're now on YouTube. Oh, let me make sure I sound good. Test, test. There was a delay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
I'm
hear the
trying just
feedback?
to talk on and on while you do your test.
Yeah, yeah. You hear the test, test, test.
I
Make
feel
sure
like I'm
audio's
being
good.
redundant.
Oh yeah, you got feedback? Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. So it sounds like a full-on conversation now. Let me turn it down. All right.
Hey, Buzz.
What up, Fuzzy? I missed you, bud. We didn't have a Tuesday show. We had multiple things going on. My
Yeah,
kids had
Tuesday was a
testing,
crazy
so I
morning.
had to go pick them up. You had things on your end, so
Hmm.
busy, busy. But it's Thursday, so it's time for the light show. So I
Yes.
don't know. What are we talking about? Being alone.
It's feeling
Being
less
alone.
alone.
I guess it's all perspective because I love being alone. So
Mhm.
I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that. That's positive. I like that. But everybody else in this world is like, oh, I don't want to be alone.
I guess when I was thinking of the topic, I was thinking more of lonely than alone. Like the actual feeling of it. And how we get into really negative replays in our mind. And then before you know it, you have that that feeling of I'm alone, I'm going at
Mhm.
this alone. There's no one I can lean on. There's no support.
Mhm.
And it really sucks because when you think about it, you're never alone. There's always
Right.
someone you can call.
So
And
I'm glad you said it, not to cut you off, but I'm glad you said it because you said a key word that I wanted to focus on, which was
mhm,
lonely. Because honestly, lonely to me, when you start feeling that sense of lonely, it's because you're really deep down, you're just bored.
mhm,
So just get out and do something. And like you're hesitant to do something because you have that fear of doing it alone. Right?
right.
And it's like, don't have that fear. Just go on and do it. Do what you want to do. Like people
I
looking at
was
me
thinking
crazy when I'm
about
like,
I was thinking about how growing up, Ma had moved us upstate. So for me growing up, I have memories of being with family at the holidays.
mm-hmm,
And that sense of that was that sense of community, that sense of family. And we've kind of let that fall to the wayside. That's not something that we've really maintained throughout the years. We'll get together with cousins here and there, but we really don't have tight bonds with our family members. And then I was also thinking how our one cousin came to our mom in her time of need, and she felt hey, she can go to either of her aunts if she ever needed them. And I was wondering are we creating that for our children? Are we creating those
mm-hmm.
bonds? Are we creating that atmosphere of hey, come to your aunt, come to your uncle when you feel like you're alone?
That's a
Yeah,
good
so
question.
I was just in my mind, just mind wandering, and this
I
is
can
what
tell
I
you right
came to.
now, I know none of your kids are gonna come to me. They're gonna be
Right.
like, Theo's too hard. He's gonna tell us to suck it up. He's gonna be like, suck it up, buttercup,
Hmm.
and embrace the suck. You gotta figure out life. So I'm curious. Like I don't see any of your kids coming to me.
Hmm.
And then in the other end, I don't see any of my kids going to you because I feel like they would be the type to, how do I say this? Try to figure it out themselves. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like they're like, oh, I gotta, like I don't like they don't really ask for help unless they're like really like underwater.
Right.
So it's like in a way, it's a good thing and a bad thing because it's like they have independence, but then they don't know how to ask for help when they actually truly need help. My relatives are the worst. That's like honestly, Buzz. I didn't mean to laugh, but that's like a most common like thing that I hear out of people. It's like people. Um, I feel like family nowadays is very disconnected. Many
Hmm.
people have like a very bad taste of their family, right? They got a really bad like they're very distant. Even like just direct like your mother father. I feel a lot
Mhm.
of people saying like they have a bad relationship with their mother, with their father, and it's just a lot of people are alone. My relatives
Relatives
are
are all
all
single
single
too.
too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's where my mind was at. So I feel like like that just brings to my mind like, well, what's the root cause of that? And there are rumors that like, oh, our society is, breaking down the families and they're trying to take the men out of the households. And one of the other things they say is like, when your child goes off to college, a lot of the dialogue they use almost like turns them against their parents.
Mm-hmm.
And even someone I know who went up to like Bard, which is like one of those like hippy dippy in the woods kind of school. With a little insight, he was like, yo, like that's exactly what they did. Like they started opening, the students' minds, but at the same time, like planting seeds, and those seeds
Yep.
were creating like animosity towards
Schools,
their,
you're
the
paying.
elders.
Parents are paying for their kids to be radicalized nowadays. That's
Mhm.
another reason why I'm adamant about college. It's like, the pros and cons at this point, I just break it down with just costs, but then seeing on top of it how they're radicalizing, the youth to be more liberal, to be more on the left side, and to
Mhm.
be like this radical, believing in communism, believing in all this stuff that is just not sustainable, but yet it's still toxic because now they're believing in all this stuff, right? And they're going against everything that they were raised in.
Mhm.
Like if you think about like that nuclear family, right? That mom and dad, that those traditional roles, holding it together family wise, they tend to be a little more conservative, right? Because if you
Right.
think about what they're dealing with on their day-to-day basis, they're dealing with life itself. So they don't really have time to be sitting there and bitching and complaining about everything else that it seems like everybody else right now are virtual signaling these days, right?
Mhm.
Right? They don't really have time to focus on like they'll see the news and they'll be like, man, that sucks, right? They're compassionate in the sense that says, hey, that sucks that happened, but I got to go to work. I got to feed my kids. I can't be out there protesting. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? So it's in India, almost everyone is married and never divorced. Well, that goes back to what I was saying too the other day. Like I'm in awe with India's culture in the sense of the whole arranged marriage and how it's not just two people randomly coming together and saying, "Hey, we're going to get married."
Mhm.
It's a community. It's a community. It's a family. It's they're interviewing each other, right? It's almost like a job. It's almost like you're looking for like a long-term job, right? But
Yeah.
it makes sense because it builds you go through this whole lengthy process in the beginning to instill in you what? A foundation that this can't break. We got to make this work,
Mhm.
right? There's still that whole social construct, not social construct. I hate saying that because that's what they use to try to break everything. It's still that social it's an acceptance, right? It's a boundary. It's like, hey, look, you're getting into this marriage, and if you break this contract, you're letting all these people down,
Right.
right? It's like, whereas when I was going through my divorce, everybody was like, oh, it happens. I'm like, wait, what? How do you build anything like that with that kind of mindset? Like, oh,
Right.
it happens. Maybe it'll be better in your second one. Give it a second try. Give it a third try. Like that to me doesn't make any sense. Like I'm like I don't understand that. What's the whole point of it? Why do we push for marriage? Why do we still have this whole ritual if we don't believe in it?
Mhm.
If there's no recourse, there's no outcome. Now the potential is, marriage. If it's a strong marriage, you build a strong foundation, right? Hopefully you build a legacy, right? You're leaving something for your kids,
Mhm.
right? You have somebody to go through life with, right? You're not alone. And I mean, like, there's a lot of benefits when marriage works, but the reality is most people are not willing to put in the work because the second um, it gets hard, there's an argument, right? It gets tough, right? Everybody thinks, oh, marriages are just roses. The second it gets tough, people are dipping out. They're like, all right, I'm finding somebody else.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
think if you,
I feel the reason why like so many marriages fail is because people go into marriages without truly like knowing that person. Like I feel like they if you don't know how to communicate and work through things with somebody before getting married, it's not going to change after you're married.
But I mean, even then, people change. People change, right? And it could be for the better or for the worse. Right?
That's
And when
true.
you have two people, and people, when let's say one person is evolving, one person is changing, and
Hmm.
the other person is still stagnant and they're staying in the same place, right? I could see where you develop that tension, and the fact is like, yo, why aren't you evolving with me? Like, come on, right? And
Right.
then you feel like, some people feel like they outgrown, the other person. So I get it, but in the same sense, I don't, because I'm like, why even get married if you're not gonna be committed to building it,
To making it work. Right.
right? So
Because I
like
mean
if you,
that's all in the vows. It's like, hey, for better or for worse.
right, and if you end up maximizing your potential, right, and let's say you met the person here, and they're here, and they stayed here, but you're up here, you made that commitment, you made those vows, you got to stay with that.
Mm,
And a lot of people, they're very selfish. They're like, no, I'm here now. Bye bye.
damn.
And it's like, especially, I hate to say this because I know I'm gonna get attacked, whatever, but it's more with women, because you could see men, like men will they could be here, they could get promoted in a job, they could do all this, and when they start elevating, what happens? That all trickles back down to the family, right?
Hmm.
Oh, we get a better house, we get a better car, we do this, we do that, we go on trips, we do that. Men don't tend to want to leave when they built that foundation. They're moving up. It's
Right.
women. It's women who, when they start going up, they're like, oh, I can get a better. I could get, like I can get somebody else. Like maybe you met when she was like in nurse school, right, and she's in college, and you're both in college, right, and then you ended up dropping out, getting a regular job because the bills were getting on you, right, and she ends up becoming a nurse, right. She's working the nurse, and the next thing you know, she's in the office. She's like the senior nurse, right, and she's like, oh, you're not doing anything. You're just working a that blue collar job, and I want to leave you for that doctor.
Yeah. Which is
That's
crazy because in all reality, like once, that partner is here, they should be able to, sustain the household while this person is working on them and being able to, bring themselves up. They should be helping each other almost like steps.
mm-hmm. But even then, even if it's something where it's like if she's up here because that was her personal goal,
Hmm.
and I talked to that rock, hey, you know what? There's no wrong. Listen, I've heard people go out and hug trees,
Hmm.
and I
Yo,
get it
that's
because
really
there's
a
energy
thing.
in that
Stop
tree.
it. It's really a thing. So trees, they actually ground you. Like if you're ever just feeling
I'm
like
not knocking
heavy
it.
and you need some life,
No, I'm not knocking it.
go
I've
lean
seen
against a
people
tree.
talk to trees, hug trees. There are people who have plants at home and they talk to their plants. And listen, if you think about, like, most people go see a psychiatrist, right? And what do
Hmm.
you think you're doing for that 1 hour? You're just talking. And the psychiatrist is asking you the questions you need to be, uh, asked, right?
Right.
So the psychiatrist is just confronting those questions and saying, why are you doing this? Why? So you don't think you could just do that by just talking out loud and having that conversation, having that internal monologue and listening to yourself? It's like, look, listen, you want to talk to the rock, that's fine. As long as you are progressing with your elevation, talk to the rock. I'm not knocking it. If you get something out of it, more power to you. That's all I'm saying. Like, I heard people transferring energy to trees, getting that groundedness, because you're right. Trees, they're energy. They're living. They're a living
Yes.
creature. We have a bond with trees, right? So if you go out there, you hug a tree, you talk to a tree, you elevate yourself. As long as you're better than who you were yesterday, I have no problems with that. I really don't. Name of the rock is Stone. Sly Stallone. Sly Stone. You know what that reminds me of? Remember the Flintstones when they used to have like different names, but they always had like Stone or Rock in it.
Yes. Yes.
It
Even
was
like the
hilarious.
pets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they always had something in it, and then when they had a cameo of somebody famous, they'll have like they would add Rock or Stone at the end of their name, or Slate. It was some kind of. It would always be some kind of rock that they would add. And I
Hmm.
was like, yo, that's so creative how they would just come up with all those names. Tadashi, Tadashi, are you new to the channel? If so, thank you for commenting and let us know how you found the channel. because we want to know how we're trending so we can kind of gravitate towards that and get more people to watch. Mm. Now that we're 15 minutes in, Lynn, do you want to drop the link in case anybody wants to dial in?
Oh yeah.
If they want to chat with us, come on live. Don't be intimidated. You don't have to show your face. I mean, we'll love you either way. YouTube doesn't bite. They haven't bitten yet. I'm waiting. The name of the rock is Stone. Oh, that cracked me up. I'm telling you, I love the Thursday show because it's just so laid back. It's like we're going into the weekend and it's great.
Mhm.
Yo, I just realized that this weekend's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
You got plans for Memorial Day weekend?
I have a busy weekend coming up actually. I'm working on
Yeah?
costumes. Costumes?
Or are you going to say cosplay? You're cosplaying?
Yeah, we're gonna do medieval times on this Monday? On Monday, on
Oh
Memorial
yeah.
Day.
I was trying to get some free tickets, but I was too late.
Ah.
That's good. Yo,
Mhm.
you'll love it. Medieval Times is awesome.
Yeah, so I did it I did a family trip there maybe like
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago. So my youngest, he was too young to really remember.
Mm.
So he'll experience it now. And then in school, the district that we're in, it's an annual thing that we go to the trip. So,
Mm-hmm.
each of my children are gonna be able to experience it with the class too.
Okay. Yeah, that's the reason why. Honestly, what you just said right there is the reason why I haven't done Disney World with my kids. Like, I really want to go, but the thing one
Hmm.
is too damn expensive, and two, I was
Right.
like, look, if I'm spending that much money, you gotta make sure you remember this shit. So I'm just waiting for my youngest to be old
To
enough,
be
so
a
I'll be
little
like,
bit
here,
older.
I
Yes. If not,
did
then we can do it
it.
again.
Right, exactly, because they're like, oh, I don't remember that. And there's stuff that I've done with them that I've done it again, and I'll be like, "You guys don't remember doing this when you guys were younger?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"No," and I was like, "All right, I don't mind doing that if it's the cost is not that expensive, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, we could do it multiple times. It's not that expensive." But like Disney World, man, there's an article that came out, and they were like, some parents are like pretty much cutting it off at this point. They're
Hmm.
like, "I don't look. Wait, oh, who? Which one?"
I don't know. We both have kids.
Yo, that's great. I was like, yo,
That's true. We both
before
have
I
kids.
embrace that compliment, let me make sure. Let me make sure. Like, who you talking about? Yeah, we got good genes. We got very good genes. So let's throw that out there. Tadashi, since I guess you look like you're new to the show, and guess our ages. I'm just curious. Guess put down how old do you think Lynn is, and how old do you think I am? Lynn.
Lynn, I don't
Okay,
even
yeah,
look
Lynn.
18.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're gonna get carded.
Lynn or Ray. Okay, neither of us look 18.
Shit, I like getting carded, man. I feel, man, especially with my body now. My body's like feeling old. So, they say, look, when you go out to try to, embrace youth, like don't think about it. Don't think, just go out and live life, right? But it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to do that when your body's like, what the fuck? Mm,
All right, so you know how I'm always doing like yoga, right? So I'm always doing like these like weird poses and like stretches and stuff, and they feel really good.
uh-huh.
The other day, I like decided to like do one on my bed, and like as I was in the yoga pose, like I just caught like a crazy craze, like I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this,
And you
and I
get a
was
crazy
mad at
cramp.
myself. I was like, look at you, put yourself to the
You
limit,
got
thinking you're still young.
you got a cramp. You're cramping up like I'm the same way. Now that it's getting nice outside, me and the boys were going to the courts, the basketball courts, but we're playing soccer, and running up and down the courts. I was just like, I need some time, guys. You go play. I'm feeling it now. I'm like, man, well, I know I'm out of shape, so I'm trying to get back into it, but I'm also feeling my age is creeping up on me. Buzz said
So
I'm
Fuzz,
46 and
Fuzz
I
is
still get
still getting
carded.
carded at
Good.
40.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. I love when I get carded because it's like I want to feel young again,
It's
It's
one of
like,
those things that like when you're really young, like 18 to maybe 23, and people are like, "Oh, you look so young." It's like you're almost like offended. But as you get older, it's like, "Oh wow, well thank you. I appreciate that."
I
Like you
don't I was
cherish it more, you appreciate it.
I was never like that. To me, like when I was young, it made sense. Like, all right, here's my card. Boom, let me go into the spot. Whatever. I just
Mhm.
appreciated after the fact, like
Gotcha.
when like just now when they're like, "Yo, you're 18," and I'm like, "What? I'm 30. What are you talking about?" Stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like when I was just throughout time, it just felt great. When everybody thinks you're younger, I don't know. It just
Mhm.
feels. I'll tell you what though. Here's a secret. You guys want to keep looking young? Just be happy. Just laugh. Be happy. Just just be happy. That's it. Because when you
It
start
keeps you
worrying,
young.
stressing, anxiety, all that stuff, you're gonna show your age real quick. Which they even say that they say stress is what causes white hair. So,
Um, Good morning, Mom.
oh, you both, but I saw her
Lynn,
smoking,
your
and I
nails
was
look
just
very
telling
nice.
them you aren't
Thank
allowed to
you.
smoke
I
before
got them done
18.
yesterday. And Ray, what's on your feet?
I have nothing on my feet right now. I was running late.
Mm, mm.
I did have socks, and nobody asked for it last time. What's up with
Damn.
that?
Well, shout out to Stone. We're gonna give a quick shout out to Stone because Tadashi keeps bringing him up.
Hey, what up,
Um,
Stone? Yo, listen, Stone. Stone's a soldier. I want to give a shout out. This toast is for you. You're always there for my man Tadashi in his time of needs.
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna
In
say
his
thank you,
dark
Stone.
times, you hold him. You're his foundation. You're his
Hmm.
rock through hard times. You're his light through the dark. Listen, Stone, keep holding it down. Mad respect, mad love, Stone.
Stone is
Oh, you said hi to
she.
both? All right,
Yes,
that's
she's a
good.
rock. She's grounding
Hmm.
you. I love it.
Good, 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 good.
And
Yeah,
it's crazy
so
that we're having like such a good show today. Like everyone's interacting with us. It's just very light. Everyone's in a great mood. Because I was coming to this show, I was like, "Yo, Ray, we gotta talk. We have to change
mhm.
things up."
Why? What happened? What do you want to
I don't
change up?
know.
Let's air it
I
out.
feel like this is really hard to do
The show? Why?
because like we're running out of topics. We're running out of things to talk
Mhm.
about.
Okay.
And then what? So what are we gonna do? So I'm
Listen,
really
this is
glad that like today is very light,
listen,
very just.
listen. This
It's a
show
good
is
show.
whatever we want to do. We just gotta be consistent. That's
Mhm.
it. And the more you take on, listen, this is an outlet to talk. So the more, like, if you watch a movie, you're like, man, I really want to talk about it. We talk about it. You
Mhm.
like, oh, something talks about the news. We talk about it. Look, we could go into what's been going on in the news with all these mass shootings. We could talk
Mhm.
about that. But I really want to talk about that today. It's Thursday. I'm alive, and I want to enjoy the weekend. Memorial Day weekend. It's sunny outside. It's like, you know, Tadashi's talking about Stone. Yo, sorry, Stone. I didn't mean to misgender you. Please don't get offended. You're a queen, so keep holding down Tadashi. You're his soulmate, and keep holding out my guy, so he could be a soldier and be one of the ones doing out there making great things, making great changes.
I
This ain't a
almost
show. We ain't trying to misgender nobody up in here.
I almost
Never
found some
running out of
shrooms,
topics.
fell through.
Huh? You almost had
Almost.
shrooms?
I almost found shrooms, fell
Come on.
through.
You would have been my favorite sister. Once I made a snowball, my friend, but I made him friend in the morning and he disappeared after I came to school. He peed on my table and ran away. Yeah, don't you just hate that when snowballs do that? They're so cold too. It's like they
That's
have no
really cute.
emotions.
I like that.
They're so cold. Mm. Well, listen, this topic was good. We were on a roll.
Hmm.
Um, but I do think we touched it before. I was gonna listen. You didn't have a topic. I saw a great movie over the weekend. I was gonna talk about it and just kind of get into that whole uh, what's the word when it's like not spiritual, but like ideal, like talk about the concept. I guess we can
Hmm.
still do it, all right? Because I'm excited to talk about it. So the topic I wanted to do was going to be death and clones,
Death and
because
clones.
death and clones, that was going to be
Okay.
the topic. And then because the movie I saw over the weekend was called Duel, and the basis, I'll give you a quick synopsis. It's this lady finds out she's about to die, and she's terminally ill. She has like a short time to live, and she decides that she wants to clone herself so that she has somebody so that her family can continue living with her, with her clone, and not feel the loss of losing her. And so then they started talking like other movies. They talk about cloning, whereas like clones, like you gotta have a clone to use for like
Mhm.
organs.
Mhm.
So like there's like a clone farm. So we'll have a clone of ourselves, and in that clone farm, like let's say I need a kidney or I need something, they'll kill my clone and they'll give me my organ so I can keep living.
Oh
So
my
I was
God,
like,
that's
yo, let's talk
awful.
about that. Yeah, let's talk about that because I'm like,
Oh
I don't
my
know if I want to do
God.
that. That would kill me.
I saw something on Netflix similar. It was like the dad was a scientist and he gets into a car accident, his whole family dies. And
Hmm.
then he uses his technology to like
Oh, with,
upload their
with
like
Keanu Reeves,
essence.
right? Keanu Reeves, right?
Yes, yep.
I saw that movie too. Yeah,
Similar concept.
yeah,
And that like, that got my mind going. Like that's a crazy concept. And it's like I feel like in my mind, like, like that's not really the person. Like once you do that transfer, like that's not that
yeah.
person anymore.
And if there's one thing that consistent with like what all these movies have in place, so Duel, I think the other one was Gattaca with the harvesting of the individuals. I
Mm,
might be help me out, Fuzz. Which movie was that one? They were harvesting the clones, and then even the AI one, because there was like another movie where the guy lost his wife, and then he was using the AI, like he was trying to incorporate her into the AI, and he was trying
mhm,
to make the AI be more like her. And I was like, honestly, ultimately, like there's a big key message throughout all these movies, and that's
mhm,
loss. Like the
mhm.
fear of dying, and fear of losing. And it's like, why don't we embrace that? We talked about it many times on the show, as far as like how back in the days, we had, when you were in your tribe, there were ceremonies. There were ceremonies of life and there were ceremonies of death. And like we embrace that full circle that is our being. But it seems like as modern age, as we advance, socially, technology, all everything as humans, we have shunned away from the whole death part of our lives,
Right.
and I don't understand that. It's like me, I don't see myself ever wanting to harvest a part, because if my time comes short, then it is what it is. I was here, I lived, I gotta go. Like I don't
Mm.
understand that. Like people are so
I
scared.
have that thought often that like I asked myself, it's almost like a reflective moment where I'm usually, alone and I just think like, damn, like life is so good. Like I'm so like grateful for this moment right now to realize that I am
Mhm.
still alive because I know like you don't know what
Right.
tomorrow is going to bring.
Right. And so when you have that aspect, that's when you start motivating yourself to get yourself out of something that you might be hating to do. Like you're in this repetition part of life. You're in a job that sucks, right? You're in this just like grudge. And you're like, man, I'm gonna die someday. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I live my life like it's the last day of my life. So it helps me to live it at its fullest. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to get at. It's like when you find it, when you come face to face with your mortality, right? We're not immortals. We're all going to die. You
Hmm.
see yourself, like I see myself in the mirror. And even though I got that baby face still, I see some wrinkles coming
You
in
see
and
the
I'm not seeing
aging.
the same
Yeah,
face
it's your
that
face.
I
You're familiar
saw
with it.
10 years ago. And so
Hmm.
I'm like, man, and you start, you got your reference points in life and you start looking back at those points and you're like, man, 10 years has passed since I did this, right? And so
Yeah.
then you're like, what have I done with myself? And that's where you got to start picking yourself back up, just like Tadashi said, live your life like, like you're about to die. So that way you could live yourself to the fullest. Because 9 times out of 10, what's holding you back from doing what you want to do is you.
It's
It's
yourself.
here. It's
Yeah.
here. It's that mindset.
Yeah.
If I had clones, I would ask my clones to work and clean for me. Honestly, that's the only thing that I thought about, because I was like, me personally, I don't even know if I would like myself. Because I saw, what was it the Ryan Reynolds movie where he going back in time and he saw himself as a
Hmm.
kid, and I was thinking to myself in that movie, I was like, man, I don't think I would like myself as a kid. I was like, oh hell no, I wouldn't like myself as a kid. So I was like, if I had clones, would I want to hang out with my clones? I don't know if I would. I
It's
think
funny
I'd be
because
like,
my first
listen,
thought when you told me about these clone farms is like, well, what's the standard of living over there? Like, why wouldn't you just like keep your clone close by and just be best friends so they could like learn how to be you?
No, they would play these mind. So the movie, I gotta correct myself. It wasn't Gattaca. It was the island. And so on the island, which Fuzz did say that like a few episodes ago, and then I went back and I rewatched it. So
Hmm.
the premise of the concept of that movie is like you're on, they're the clones are on this island and they're being programmed, being fed this whole thing that if you win the lottery, that's your purpose, and you get to like leave and fulfill your purpose, right?
Hmm.
And the reality is, when you get picked by this lottery, um, they're pretty much killing you and
Oh
taking your
crap!
organs out. Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Yo,
Spoiler
that's
alert.
like the Oh no, I meant to put a different one up. All right, so you read that one.
There's another movie called Swan Song on Apple TV with Marshala Ali. He's dying and asks a corporation to clone him. I haven't watched that one, but yeah,
Mm,
I'm cool because I'm like taking into these whole like um, you could call it philosophical debates about cloning yourself and all that. It's like I don't want to be greedy. Like if I was to clone myself, I don't want to be greedy with it. Get what I'm saying?
right.
Like it's not for me to sustain my life. It's not going to be for uh I mean, how would you feel like if I was to say, going back to the movie The Duel, if I was
Mm,
to say, hey, look, I'm dying, here's my clone, so that you guys don't have to feel the loss. Here's Ray 2.0. Like you're gonna look at that guy, you're gonna be like, you're not really my brother.
that's not right. Yeah, that's weird.
Like you don't have the memories. Like you're gonna tell him an inside joke, and he's gonna be like, I don't get what you're talking about,
Right,
right?
right.
And it's funny too because like there was a scene in the movie where she was trying to like get her clone ready, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like French food because it makes you feel bloated or whatever the reason was." She said, right?
Hmm.
And then the clone was like, "I love French food." Like 6 months later, so it was like it wasn't consistent, right?
Right. There's another
But the
one up.
movie, yeah, no, the movie was good because it had that dry, sarcastic humor.
Hmm.
So they would like deliver lines, and you were like, "Wait, what? Wait, what did she just say?" And so like you had to catch it. Like you had to. I love those kind of movies. It was by the same people that did the what was it, The Art of Self Defense. I don't know if you've seen
Hmm.
that one, but it's just
No.
like the same people, and it got kind of like that same dry humor. But it makes it so much more hilarious. And so there's like scenes in the movie where they were saying things, and I was just like, I was like, I was just dying laughing. It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
No, the movie I started thinking about was it was like an adult animation with food.
Hmm.
It was in the theaters a couple years ago.
Adult animation with
Shit, I
food.
can't think of the name of it. But basically, like they thought like it was like a celebration in the grocery store. Everybody wanted to look the best that they got picked. But when they got picked, it was like it turns out they were actually going to their death. So that's why I thought about with the other movie you were telling me about.
Yeah, that's kind of like the island. The island was
Hmm.
like that, but it turns out they were being harvested. Um,
Yeah.
let's see, Tadashi said, "Oh yeah, I was gonna read that one. The biggest fear is death, and if you somehow came through that fear, nothing is impossible. Everything is gonna end. Nothing matters." That is 100% correct,
Right.
and that's why you got to embrace death. It's not because um, it's funny because they say like the people who are depressed, and I'm not knocking anybody who's depressed. We're not doctors, we're not psychologists.
Hmm.
People who are depressed that they take the easy way out in committing suicide, right?
Hmm.
And I'm like, but maybe if we started embracing death instead of making it seem like this bad thing, and it's like we don't want to talk about it, we don't want to deal with it. Maybe we start embracing that. That's where we can start unlocking more potential.
Right.
And I started doing that. I started since you guys are talking about loneliness, about no long lines. It's going on
Yeah.
around me with the
Loneliness.
senior citizens. They tell me that they're lonely because their families don't visit them. Yeah, I know because honestly, we broke down. We've lost that connection with society. We lost that connection with family. Like even with the beginning of the show, Lynn said like we don't really hang out with our cousins.
Hmm.
We've been fed this line of individualism.
Yes.
And there's a song that I keep listening to over and over by Soulja. It's called "It's Funny," and it
Hmm.
actually talks about that. It says like how we start out with our mom and dad, and that's all we need. We just need family, right?
Hmm.
And like you were talking about earlier, how we have all these memories of just family, right? We didn't need much, and then we start getting over, and we start thinking about our potential. We start thinking about what we can have. We start thinking about who we can be, and we lose track of family.
Yeah.
So ultimately, at the end of the day, that's really all you need. If you got a good foundation, right? You got a good set of friends. You got a good set of, you got a good family. Everything else is just noise. Everything else is just society faking it. Because if you think about it, even like your influencers, you see IG, you see YouTube, all these guys are on here like, oh, look at me stunting and stuff. But then the reality is, you turn off that camera, and they're just not happy.
Right.
So, and you're definitely seeing now with this hookup culture, both
Hmm.
men and women who are just out there, sleeping
They
around.
they want to feel
Right,
connected, and they're going about it in the wrong way.
right, and they're
Like
just
all they're finding is more emptiness, more loneliness. They're feeling, they're giving out so much of their energy with each of these encounters that they're left with less and less.
yes, yes, and it's
Hmm.
I don't know. I do feel like a great movie about loneliness. Check out The Mole Agent, 2019, a documentary on an old man paid to investigate elderly abuse in a senior citizen home. Yeah, that breaks my heart. That
Mm.
breaks my heart because honestly, the way we treat our elderly this day and age, it's the wrong way of doing it.
Yeah.
We should elevate our elderly. We should be going towards our elderly for wisdom, for
Yes.
guidance. Because like
Yes.
they say that history repeats itself, it may not repeat, but it rhymes,
Hmm.
right? And there's something that we're gonna do in our day and age today that Ma could have been like, oh yeah, I did that. Don't do it. Go this way. Go that way. Here's a shortcut, right? But
Hmm.
we don't embrace our elderly. We don't. We don't go to them for guidance. Like, I love the cultures where there are three generations in the same home.
Yes.
Like that to me, I'm in awe inspired by that because think about just the fact like you don't have to worry about childcare, how much money you're
Hmm.
saving, right?
And you
If you just
share the work, it's not the same person, not that it's like somebody's cooking, somebody's making sure
Mhm.
that the bills are getting paid, somebody's taking care of the children, and it's just that reliability of having other people there. Like that's the community that they say, like, hey, it takes a community to raise a child. That's what it
Exactly.
is.
It really is. It really is. And that's what it
Hmm.
is. It's like you want the elderly to pass down that wisdom.
Hmm.
I even say it. It's like because I remember when I when I was a kid and my mom, all the time she would harp common sense, common sense, common sense. And I wasn't getting it. Like as a kid, I hate to say it, but kids are dumb.
Hmm.
They're dumb in the sense that they're not developed in those life situations.
Right.
So they could go and they could sit in the class. They could say, "Teacher told me A, B, C." I go in,
Hmm.
I take a test, I answer A, B, C, and I get 100 across the board. But they still dumb in the sense that they can't figure out, hey, situational awareness, hey, life awareness. Why? Why? Because they haven't lived those situations yet,
Hmm.
right? That's the reason why a kid can run out in the middle of the street because they don't know that they haven't lived that situation where a car can come flying down and hit them,
Right.
right? So when I say kids are dumb, literally they are dumb in the sense
Hmm.
that they haven't lived that yet. But who should
It's
guide
funny,
them with
most people
that?
describe it as innocence, but okay.
No, that's a different thing. And I love the innocence
It's
part.
just
Like
like
I
that
love that childhood
unknowing that, like, I feel like the innocence is similar to what you're saying, the dumb, because it's
parallel.
just
They
the
run parallel.
unknowing.
Yeah, it runs parallel because you're right. Because in both situations, they both deal with not having that life experience, right?
Right.
But the innocence is more of like they're just still in like awe inspired, like they see the world and they see it like this wonderland, right? They
Hmm.
see everybody as their friend, right? That innocence is still very positive. They haven't been tarnished with life.
Hmm.
And when they start getting tarnished with life, so they're gonna lose their innocence, they're gonna because of situational awareness, and they're gonna gain that common sense. But sadly, it's like a teetering, right?
Mm.
So it's like they're
Okay.
gonna lose that shiny eyes of old life and all this stuff. They're gonna lose that, but then they're gonna get that situational awareness, like, oh, you trying to scam me? They're gonna get that street smarts, right?
Hmm.
So in a way, like I feel bad for my boys because it's like they do have that innocence. I don't want them to lose it, but in the same sense, I don't want them to get scammed either. Like you guys are so easy to scam. And if something is being of something, yes, full circle of life. You
Hmm.
know, yeah, it's funny, but metaphorically, the Lion King was trying to tell us that.
You will live your life. At the end, you will have a smile that I completed all the levels, and every end is a new beginning.
Amen. Amen. That's motivation right there. And like when I look at my life, like I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be me at this point. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to chase after any accolades anymore. I
Hmm.
did that. I was in the consulting world. I wore a suit and tie. I was the monkey in the suit trying to do the dance and all that for my banana. Um, I don't want to be that guy no more. Honestly, right now in my life, when I lay on my deathbed, hopefully I have a certain familiar faces, you know, I'm not scared of dying alone. Like I said it multiple times, I'm like, if I drive away in my van, go somewhere and just die in the woods, I'll be happy with that too.
Hmm.
But ideally, most people they want to die in their deathbed. They want to see all familiar faces, right? And you want to think to yourself, like, it was a hell of a ride. That's it.
Hmm.
No regrets. Because listen, anything that happens in your life, if you have the right mindset, you can learn from that. You can grow
Right.
from that. You can adapt from that.
Exactly.
And if you're still living, you can come back from that. So if you bottom out, you zeroed out, there's no reason why you can't come back from that and reinvent yourself. It's just what you got in here.
All right. I have to
Yeah.
feed my kittens. They're like getting
They're
angry.
crying? All
Yeah,
right.
I guess they're feeding. I was supposed to feed them at 11 right before I went live, and I forgot.
All right. So
They're like
I'll
growling
take
at
this
each other
break.
and like gnawing on my
I'll
shit.
take this time and this break to step back a little bit and say, hey, welcome to the show, Sibling Rivalry. We normally go on Tuesdays and Thursdays, mid morning. Sometimes we go on
You
10.
know, stop by.
Oh, look at that little
The
guy.
little
He's
fella. Oh,
adorable.
she can do.
I was gonna say something and I was like, no, let me refrain myself. Yeah, I figured you guys could figure out what I was gonna say. I think you guys know me already.
And the
um,
little guy.
oh, they're too adorable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go feed him.
Listen, I love all animals when they're babies. They're like there was like a family of groundhogs outside my house, and the mama was like big as all hell. And then you see all like the six little babies all around. And I was like, oh, they're so adorable. But then once they start getting bigger, that's when I was like, I gotta get rid of them. So I put ammonia around their homes. So hopefully they'll migrate to my neighbor. I was like, you could be my neighbor's problem now. But thank you everybody so much for tuning in, commenting down below, um, engaging with us this morning. You guys were very active. Tadashi, I hope you subscribed. I hope you like. I hope you keep commenting. I hope you keep coming back. Be part of our family because this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build um, we're trying to build a tribe that wants to have these discussions again. Talk about what society is doing. Talk about how we see things as free thinkers. We see things in a different perspective. And society, they keep saying, oh, do this, do it this way, do it that way. And it's broken. It's broken. We see time and time again, you know, um, like with these shootings, we're not okay. As humans, we're not okay. And I think it's because we need to start bonding. We need to start addressing, our social issues, and we need to start elevating ourselves. And that goes with, once again, having that spiritual bond, having our family bond, uh, connecting with our various generations, passing down that knowledge. It's like we got a lot that we have to grow as humans. Me and Stone are always with you guys. Thank you, Tadashi. That means a lot. That means a lot. Thank you. That really does mean a lot. Stone likes both babies. Yeah, those kitties are adorable. Like I said, I love animals when they're babies. Puppies. Oh, puppies are the best. Puppies is like if you're having a bad day, just go to the pet shop and look at play with some puppies. You're gonna feel 100% different. And that goes again with that whole bond with life. People can say, oh, I can walk in the woods, hear the birds singing, feel the energy in the woods, and I feel rejuvenated, right? It's the same thing. It's like go play with some puppies. Trust me. You're having a bad day, pet shop, puppies, you'll be a completely different person. But yeah, let's talk about some Memorial Day weekend plans. Any of you guys got any plans? Any movies you guys want to go see? I know Top Gun is out in the movie theater. Fuzz, did you already catch that one? I know there was a Tuesday showing. I'm guessing you already caught that one. I haven't seen it yet. My kids want to go see it, and I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to go see that one in IMAX. I think I want to go see that one in Dolby with the like whole big sound system and it shakes your seats and chairs and everything, and you're just like, oh. um, but yeah, yeah, I love the Thursday shows. They're light, they're laid back, and we can have these like deep thoughts, these deep talks. 'Cause I like feel like Tuesday. I don't know. For some reason, the last Tuesday shows, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on like over the weekend and Monday. That by the time we come on Tuesday, we got to talk about like current affairs and we get into it, and then we'll have the debates, and that's okay. I love the debates because it makes me see things in a different perspective, right? So we'll go on, we'll have those debates, and then it's like after the show. Hopefully, I feel like we heard both sides. We'll come up with like a compromise. We'll leave the show, and we're like, okay, that was a very um, social or very on the current affairs, right? And then the Thursdays is more like talking about space, aliens, time travel, cloning. Me and Stone are going for a long drive. It's been a long time since we went for a long drive. I saw Top Gun already. The bootleg copy is pretty good. Oh, okay. So maybe I'll catch the bootleg copy. Because like I said, with the fuel prices going up, my movie theater is about 30 minutes away. So I kind of been curbing, going over to the movie theaters. So we'll see. Because I feel like Top Gun is like an immersive movie in the sense of like the audio. Like when you hear the jet fly by, like whoosh, like I want to feel that. I don't know. Was it good though? Did it have the message, Fuzz? Because if it had the message, I'm not trying to be in with the agenda and the message in the movie. Maybe I'll have to see a bootleg then.
Ooh,
You coming back,
kids
Lynn?
are
Your
hard
cats are
work.
good?
So I had to move everything downstairs with them because I have like a litter box
Okay.
that I just put in whatever room they're in. So I fed them downstairs. So I had to take everything downstairs because when they eat, they poo. Taking care of kittens is a lot of work. I don't know why I do it to myself, but
No bait and switch. All right, good, 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 good. So yeah, I think I will catch that one in the movie theaters then.
all right, what were you
I
guys
know my.
chatting about?
We're talking about plans for Memorial Day weekend.
Nice,
Talking about Top Gun, which is in the movie theaters now. Fuzz said he already saw it. Asked him if it had the message. He said no message, no
nice,
bait and switch. He said it's just a good all around Tom Cruise movie, which is what I was looking for. So
nice.
good, good, good.
Good to hear.
And yeah,
Because it
that's
sounds
about it.
like every genre is
It's
just leading
everywhere.
towards this like message. So it's kind of cool that you guys got exactly what you were looking for, like something just a movie.
Yeah. So last night I took an edible, and like I guess I haven't taken edibles in a while,
Hmm.
and like this edible like really really hit me hard.
Hmm.
Like I was like bad, and so I was like, but then I figured out at some point I was like, wait, relax, right? You're not dying.
Right.
You're bad.
Hmm.
So let's take it to the moment. And so then that's when I started. I looked on my phone. I was like, best movies to watch, and I found this crazy ass anime. It's called Paprika,
Uh-huh.
and it was just crazy because they were going into like people's dreams. So it was just like I was on a trip. I was on this crazy trip with Paprika.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it was. So I was curious. I was gonna throw it out there. Like, what's your movie to watch? What's your go-to movie? Because a lot of people were saying like Speed Racer, and I think that would be a dope one.
Oh, it's
They
kind of
said
cool, yeah.
they said Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I started watching that, and that was trippy too with the animation and everything. And I was
Mhm.
like, whoa. But yeah, I
Um,
was
so the first time I got high, I'll tell the story. So the first time I got high, I was living in New Rochelle, not in the Bronx yet. I was living in New Rochelle. I
okay.
just started college and I had started the job as like an after school. It was like an after school program at the Y. I was like
Hmm.
the team lead. I had like a classroom. So the lifeguard there started chatting to me and we started talking, and then he was like, "Oh, come over, we can smoke some." I was like, "I've never smoked before." So we smoked and we watched 300.
That's a good one. Because the
So I would
visuals, I
say
could
like
just think
that
of the
would be my
visuals.
go-to, because that's really my
Yeah.
only experience like getting high and being like, "Oh, what am I gonna watch?"
Watch everything, everywhere, all at once. Your whole view towards your life will change. Yes, we were talking
Ray
about that just
loves this
last
movie.
episode.
He
I
has
love
not
that
stopped
movie.
talking about it.
I saw it once in the movie theaters. I saw it again when a good, HD quality came out in the open seas. I saw it with my kids. They loved it. They won't stop talking about it either. But we were going down the breakdown as far as like how it was just it was a good overall, just a good overall movie. Like it did had that good like internal conflict, internal, conversation. It had that whole family bonding, family breakdown. Like we were talking about it, like just showing marriage and how like, hey, everything was great in the beginning, and then at the end, it's just like it's not like why are we going through these motions. And then realizing, well, just because there's no really alternative, right? It's like if you go to the alternative, you go with something else. You're wondering what if, and then you could be like, oh, I had this great life, but I was empty. Similar to what we're talking about today. It ties in with what we're talking about today too.
Yeah. Yeah, haven't had a chance to see it yet. Dude, I had a chance to see it and my damn phone wasn't connecting to it. Was when I
It's
was in Miami. I had some downtime. I was like, yo, let's watch this movie. Couldn't watch the movie.
like look, listen. I watch a lot of movies. That's what I do. I just love movies. I love being engaged in that story. I love movies that make me think. Like when I analyze it afterwards, it gives me I don't know. It gives me something more to do. But to this movie, like this is right now is the movie I'm telling everybody, you gotta watch this movie. You gotta watch
Mhm.
this movie. You gotta watch this movie. It's a good movie. If you haven't watched the movie, you're only doing a disservice. That's it to yourself. That's it. Did you watch the Dark Web series? I'm not sure. Isn't that's on Netflix, right? I'm not sure if I watched that. I might have saw like the first episode or whatever.
Mhm.
It sounds familiar. I know it sounds familiar.
What am I currently watching? Oh, I'm currently watching The Stolen Heart, I think is the name of the series, where it's one of those dubbed movies, so it's originally in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
Um and it's like it's a story about a woman who's dying and she needs a heart transplant. So her like
Mm.
billionaire husband pays for one. And what ends up happening is like the other
Pays for
man's
one.
wife gets killed for her heart.
Hmm.
So like the story's unfolding and yada yada. Stolen Heart. It's really good.
That sounds good. See now, would you live with yourself? Like if you had to do something like that, could you live with yourself? I don't think I could do that. Like take
I don't think I
somebody's
could
life.
either. I don't think I could
I
either.
mean,
I don't think I fear death enough to have to sacrifice someone else for me to continue.
but then I take that back because I'm like, moral compass. What if the person was like a murderer,
Mhm. Would you
right?
want a murderer's heart?
Well, I could change. I could
I don't
change him. I
know.
could
I
save
don't
him.
know. Like you have to think about the kind of like transplants are freaky. They're like not a natural thing. That's why they're hard. That's why they fail. That's why people die, because like you're taking something from one body and putting it in another. That's some mad scientist shit. I tell you,
That
like
plus you're
doctors are
right.
mad scientists.
Plus you're right. I do believe because they say like there was a study that said that if like when you eat beef or when you eat meat, you
Hmm.
could taste it in the meat when the animal knows it's gonna die
Oh my god.
because there's like a stress, like I guess stress or even just um they're using pig organs in people. Yes, they're cloning on animals to try to clone human organs. They've been doing that. It's weird. I don't know if I want
And I
an
haven't
animal
really like
organ in me or
considered
something like
that.
that.
I just think like it's crazy to do like organ transplants, like
Yeah.
human to human.
Yeah. So I mean, going back to the animals, they were saying like when animals die, be it like they whatever they sense, maybe it's testosterone that's elevated, whatever stress receptor, it releases to the meat, so you could taste it in the meat.
Hmm.
So with that said, that goes back to what you were saying. Whereas like, here's a murderer, and do you want their heart?
Hmm.
The part of me is like, the optimistic person in me is like, yeah, I can change it. I'm a good person.
Right.
But the reality is that organ has been tainted by their negative energy, and I think
Hmm.
that's what you were getting at. Is like, why would you want that? That has negative
Yeah.
energy. So I think you're right in the sense like it may change you. That's crazy. That would be a good movie. Like it starts out where you're getting this heart transplant. The guy gets this heart transplant, and then it's
Hmm.
like turns out that like the heart belonged to, and he has to like figure out who the guy was, and it turns
Hmm.
out like he was like this mass murderer, and that's why he has like these like murdering like tendencies or something. That'd be great. That'd be a great movie. I'd watch that. I fucks with that. Let's go to some of these comments because there were some good ones.
All right. Is anybody
So if
watching
you love,
Stranger Things or Obi-Wan?
yes, I will be watching probably both of those. Not I'm not gonna be in a rush to watch Stranger Things. It's one of those things like I watched it, I got into the whole hype of it, but I really don't like the show. That's just me. I find
Which
it
one?
boring at times.
Obi-Wan?
Stranger Things. Stranger Things.
Okay.
Obi Wan. I'm definitely gonna watch Obi Wan because Star Wars fan. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna watch it. We'll see. Uh, I got a love hate relationship with Star Wars right now. So some of
So
the
I've
stuff they do is
watched
corny.
Stranger Things like through where it is now, but I don't
Hmm.
know if I'll continue watching it.
No,
I
I mean
don't
they're
know.
growing up. It feels weird now. They're like, wait, they're adults. They should be having kids now.
I don't know. But I'm sure,
That's
like once the season like starts releasing episodes, it's gonna pop up on your watch next. It's gonna be like, oh, new
that's
episodes.
like I think Stranger Things should have done what they did with it, where like they had the first part and it was the kids, and then when they did part two, they had them as adults and everything came back. You know,
Hmm.
like I feel like that's what they should have done. It was like, oh, okay, we went into the upside down world or whatever, and then like the next season, they should have done like introduced like an adult cast to replace the kids, and then you could have
Hmm.
done flashbacks and then have still the kids, the kid actors doing flashbacks of certain things. But I
Yeah.
think they should have introduced that because at some point they should have known they were going to phase out those kids.
Hmm.
Kids grow up. It's weird. It's weird. All right. So if you love time travel, there's no best web series than Dark. Okay. Um, I'll give it a shot. I'm open for anything. Oh, here's a good comment. Yes, thank you, Fuzz. I didn't know that, but he said Inception stole from Paprika. So, like I said, randomly, I did a search. I found Paprika. I watched it. It was an animation that was like just messing with my mind. I was like, this is what I need right now. It's like what? And go, go figure because it's pretty much it was like Inception where it was like things were all trippy and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Did you ever
It
seen
was
that
kind
movie?
of wait, Inception was it was like unfolding backwards, right? Like it started at the end and the story kind of like revealed itself as it went
No,
on.
Inception. I think you're thinking of Memento, which they said that was a good movie to watch when you're high too.
Hmm.
Because Memento, that's the one where you see the ending and you kind of got to work your way to back to the beginning. And with the guy's like got like like tattoos and messages, and he has to try to figure it out because he
Hmm.
lost his like short term memory, I think it was, or long term memory or something like that. So he had to go through and figure things out. Whereas
I don't know. That's not. It doesn't sound like it. Might be something
Inception,
else completely. I don't know.
Inception is the movie where they kept going into people's minds. And so you didn't know if you were like in a dream or if you were in a reality.
Hmm.
And so they were like, find yourself like something that can ground you.
Okay.
So that way, when you're in the dream world, you could kind of know that you're in the dream world.
Right.
But then I'm like, in the same sense, if you're in it, what happens if you're in a dream, your own dream, and you subconsciously know about this grounding thing?
Hmm.
Like, wouldn't you be able to fake that in the dream world? I don't know.
And then you just be
Movie
lost
messes with
forever.
my head, huh?
Then you would just be lost forever in the dream.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happened. Spoiler alert for Inception. I think that's what happened with the main actor in the end of the movie. I think he ended up getting lost in his not getting lost in his dream, but he was so happy with the ending of that dream that he
Hmm.
just stayed in that dream world. And like
Mm.
he faked his grounding thing. Uh, whew. You want to introduce the show
Um, yeah, we're
for any new
approaching an
watchers?
hour.
Yep, any new watchers?
Well, if you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are Sibling Rivalry. I'm Lynn.
I'm Ray.
This is the couch show where we take edibles and we just go live and see what comes of it. What we're really trying to do here is just, spread, like raise your vibration. We want to raise your vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I hear like
Then
birds
chat
chirping
with us.
outside. What? Wait, did you just freeze?
Your
Are you
window?
freezing at me?
I did freeze.
Or are you
I
just
did
really
freeze. You were
still?
freezing too. No, you were freezing too. It goes
Okay.
in and out. I think it might be on your end.
Okay.
I think it's because you're trying to stream and like you're trying to do stream yards and stream at the same time while you're on Wi-Fi.
Hmm.
So I think
It
yeah,
could
it's
also be
chopping
that I'm
out
at
on
the
your end.
furthest point in my home from my router.
Oh yeah, that doesn't help either.
There's that too.
Knucklehead.
But I like it up
Knucklehead.
here. I love being in my room. So I'm in my bedroom today on my hanging chair. I have like one of those egg chairs hanging here. You can kind of see my desk behind me if I move over a bit. Oh, maybe you can't. No, I can't show you behind me. I tried.
I'm telling you, Lynn, I say it over and over again. You could be filthy rich if you just tapped into all the stuff that you're good at. Like I feel like
Hmm.
you could be an interior designer if you tapped into that. Because I'm like
Yeah.
looking at your bath, see all the colors, like your house always had crazy colors, and it was just you. Like we're like, this is what I want to do.
Mm.
Like you have a vision, you did it, you lived it, you stood by it, and it's like you could do that for people. They would pay you buku money.
Right.
Like do that for some like rich dude in Miami or something like that. And he'll be like, "Oh, I love it. Here's $1 million." Like I'll be hyperbolic with it, but I feel like that's the stuff that, like, if you just tapped into that, you could be good. It's just, I know what's holding you back. We're procrastinators.
Basically.
We are best trippy movie is probably Being John Malkovich. Man, there was a lot of them. I saw the list and I was like, oh yeah, that would be a good one too. Oh yeah, that would be a good one. Anything, I don't want anything that taps into my paranoia when I'm like that because like my paranoia was like crazy. Like, I was watching something and I felt like the CIA was tapping into me. I was like, I'm getting the brainwaves. I gotta change this. I was like, no, they're gonna make me be a freaking a mark. I don't want to be a mark. uh, like I don't like those movies where it turns out like the twist is like the person wasn't there, like it was in somebody in their head. I said it multiple times. Like that
Hmm.
to me like really trips me out. Where they're like something like Fight Club, where he's talking to this guy and the whole time it's just somebody in his head.
Hmm.
And I'm like, but he interacted with people. I was like, did people just not say, hey, like, yo, why are you talking to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get stuff like that.
I think my first experience with that was The Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
At the
something like
end,
that.
it
Well,
was
that
like,
was,
wait, he's a ghost? What?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of trippy too. But that's more. But that's still no. See, the Sixth Sense is more like, all right, he's a ghost though. He's still talking to you. It's something still real.
Okay, versus it
What I'm
not
talking
actually
about is
being there at
versus you
all, like
talking
being
to something,
completely
you're
in your
seeing
mind.
something, and it's completely in your mind. That shit trips me up.
Mm,
That's the
okay.
stuff that like their mind, like it's a scary thing sometimes. Like I don't want that. That scares me. Have you guys heard of CERN, a machine that creates black holes for science to study? No, no. So is it like a portable black hole machine?
Exactly.
See, but I could do a Sixth Sense. I could listen. I could do with that. I could do that when I actually realize what's going on, and I'm like, okay, it's not I'm crazy
Hmm.
because I saw this ghost. I'm flipping, losing my mind. Like, oh my god, this ghost is talking to me. But if I go pull up the article, the ghost told me I die like this, and I pull up an article, and no shit, there's an article, then I'm like, okay, this is tangible. This is real.
Hmm.
I got spiritual powers. All right, cool. I can talk to ghosts. But it's when you think that there's something there, and it's like I look at my son, right? I look at my
Hmm.
youngest, and I'm like, this is my kid, this is my son. And then I'm like, what if he's really not there? Like that's all in my head. And I'm thinking like, oh, I've been talking to my kid for the last 9 years and he's really not there.
What?
It's like that's the stuff that people see things like that. And I'm like, that scares the shit out of me.
Mm. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah,
Like when you
yeah,
put it
yeah.
that way, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's like, are they really there? It's like that's crazy. That's crazy.
Because I was thinking more about like split personalities when people have like not split, multiple personalities. Like the way, because I don't think I've ever met somebody with multiple personalities, but the way they portray them in movies, like it seems like so crazy. Like they seriously like feel like they are different people, and they
Yeah.
handle and they interact with their environment differently.
I mean, that freaks me out too because like you know, what was it? Disney Plus just released Moon Knight, right? And here's the main character, right? He has multiple personalities in him.
Hmm.
And when one personality takes over, the other personality kind of doesn't know what's going on. So the
Right.
other personality like blacks out.
Hmm.
So that's kind of scary too. Like, can you imagine like you? Because I like when they say like, oh, that, yeah, Moon Knight. When people they black out and they're like, oh man, that was crazy last night, but I don't remember anything because I blacked out. Like, is that another personality that's coming out and taking over? Like, that's some
Right.
scary stuff. That's some scary stuff. But that,
See, I've never experienced a like blackout moment. Like I'm so thankful that I haven't. Like there's never been like a time in my life where I'm like, "Oh, I lost that time. I don't know what happened."
mhm. Yeah, I've never blacked out either, and I've been bad. I mean,
Mm.
I've been bad. Like, I've been like hugging the toilet, like, oh man, what the hell? It's funny too because you're like, God, please, if you get me through this, I'll never drink again. And then next week, you're like, shot. It's like, us as humans, we never learn, man. We never learn. Check out the Large Hadron Collider in Europe, aka CERN. Some say someday the Earth will end by opening a black hole by accident.
Mm.
I believe that. I believe us humans, we're very we are not humble as a species. We're not humbled by the universe. We're not humbled by everything else. We are very self-engaged, very self-entitled. We're always thinking about ourselves as humans, right? So I
Mm.
do believe that we will, we're gonna destroy this planet. We're gonna, you know, either that or like my theory is that the planet is, a living creature. It doesn't have energy, and if it detects, just like our bodies, if it detects, hey, humans are being too much of a virus, it's going to eradicate us. But I can see that. I can see science leading to something that, destroys us. Hopefully, we have the technology at that point. We have the technology to, kind of save ourselves and learn from our mistakes. But I don't know. I don't know. I think that's why I'm trying to like we're trying to do this channel. Like we're trying to be positive. We're trying to put positivity out there in the world. We're trying to change people's mindset because there is a battle of energy right now, right? And as you can see it everywhere, every headlines you see, all the news, everything you talk, just people in general, like there's a lot of negative energy out there.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping to try to, elevate people and hopefully save ourselves, save mankind.
Because positive
So,
energy is definitely contagious.
hmm
Like
it
we
is.
want to uplift you.
It is. And if you don't believe me, just go to a club. I see it all the time when I go clubbing. Go to a club and when the music's beat, just be a hype man. Go out there and be like, hey, yeah. And then just watch everybody be like, oh. Everyone wants that. Everyone wants to have fun, right?
Hmm.
Everybody's out there and you're acting a fool, you're making noise. And just by you making that noise, you throwing that energy out, you'll see people coming into, that space. Like some people are like, whoa, what's going on with this guy? But then
Hmm.
after a while, they'll be like, yeah, I like it. and you'll
Right.
see them coming out of their shell because like there's one thing, it's crazy. Going to a club, you'll see how much insecure people are.
Mm-hmm.
You see their insecurities, and you'll see like their just how shallow some people are. And I don't say it in a negative way. I just say like you see certain people and you just see like what's the meat of your content, right? Who
Mm-hmm.
are you? It's like, are you just based off your looks? Like you see people like that.
Right.
And you could turn people like that. Because if you matter more in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in here, you could easily turn somebody like that. Because if they're that fragile, you could easily bring them with your energy. And that's like I've witnessed it. I've seen it. I've seen people who, you know, are just having a bad day, and because I'm happy and my positivity outshines their negativity, I can elevate them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want everybody else. I want to instill that in everybody else. I want everybody else to tap into that energy.
Yeah.
You've seen it with me. You've seen it when we go
I just
somewhere.
had a thought, like with social media, um, like I know we talk a lot about where it is and how, like shallow it can be and just like the negativity
Mhm.
that's around it. But I wonder if, at first, like the idea came around from like, hey, like I want to, share um, I want to share my essence. I want to share my joy. I want to share who I am.
Mhm.
And then it kind of snowballed from there, and now we're just like, oh my god, we're trying, we're striving too hard to be like each other, and
Right.
we want to paint a perfect picture.
Ironically, I can lump social media like Snapchat in that same category as what Fuzz was talking about, this black hole.
Hmm.
It's like literally like they're two extremes, but I can lump them into the same category because it goes back to us as humans not being
Hmm.
humble. Like we're not humbled with ourselves. We're very selfish. We're in this society where we're very shallow and selfish. And
Yeah.
like it's sad because I get why a lot of people do that because they are looking for social proof, right? They are looking for that social acceptance, right? They want to be something like an influencer, right? They're like, oh, hey, I'm an influencer, and don't get me wrong, I'm giving mad kudos for being like that because they tapped into not being, a modern day slave and working that 9 to 5.
Hmm.
But in the same sense, I don't know how I can live without getting those clicks and not getting those likes. And when you put a comment and there's no engagement, you're like, oh my god, my whole world. It's like
Right.
I, I don't I don't know if I can live like that because I'm not the type where I'm like I don't care. I don't. So it's weird because I'm in one side I'm like, man, good on you for being able to tap into that, finding something else, not having to work that desk job. That's great. But
Hmm.
then in the other sense, it's like, but who are you? Who
Right.
are you? Are you just this like image, and behind the scenes you're a fragile little thing, or are you confident in yourself?
Hmm.
Do you have the power? Are you driving yourself? Are you growing from this? Is there growth in what you're doing?
Right.
You know, that's why like I'm impressed with somebody like Mr. Beast. He's on Twitter. He's a very social guy. Okay, guys, it was nice talking to you. It's time for my sleep. Stone is getting angry. Oh, yo, I get it. Yo, listen, your
Tadashi, thank you
relationship with
so much
Stone,
for tuning in. Thank you
your
for
your relationship.
commenting.
Yes, yes. Thank you. It meant a lot. I hope to see you soon. You and Stone,
Hmm.
come on back in. Join us. You added a lot to the show today, so thank you. Have a good night, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Hmm.
But yeah, what were we talking about? I lost my
I
train of
don't know.
thought. I was just rambling. I was just rambling.
No,
I was just rambling.
I'm actually hungry myself.
Yeah. What do you have
Yep.
plans for lunch today?
Our next live will be Tuesday morning. So we go live Tuesday and Thursday late mornings, usually around
Mm-hmm.
11. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell. That way you won't miss anything.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And if you don't join
Hmm.
us, thank you once again for providing great content today. You were very engaging, and that's what we need. That's what we want. We want people to, walk away with something from us, and then we get something from you too. It's a nice. It's like trade. It's like an open market. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it. You get something from us, and we get something from you. Engagement. It's great. So, so then you said you have a busy weekend.
I do have a busy weekend. I'm gonna get together with some friends.
Medieval
I have like a
times.
hike planned.
Nice,
And then I have medieval times.
nice, nice, nice. That's good. That's
Hmm.
good. I don't really have anything planned. I really don't. I was just like I said, it creeped up on me. I was like,
Hmm.
oh no, breaking news. Breaking news. Ray Liotta just passed away. He was a great one. Oh man. Can you look that up on your phone? No, you can't look that up on your phone?
I
Passed
don't
away at
know. I don't know if it's a good
67.
idea. If I close out of this, is it gonna close out completely?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might. Yeah, because you're on your phone. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's all right.
Or
Fuzz will fact check me if I was wrong. But yeah, it just popped up as one of my notifications. That's
hmm.
heartbreaking. I liked Ray Liotta. He was one of those guys who like was always in those like gangster movies, and he was just like he really portrayed as a gangster. Yeah, he was good. I
Hmm.
liked him. Man, that's heartbreaking. But see, he lived a full life. He lived a full
Right.
life, and to me,
Right.
that's when I say that, like it's heartbreaking in my sense because it's like, oh, I'm not gonna see him anymore in a movie.
Hmm.
But you got
He
to
was doing what
realize
he
it's like
loved.
he did what he loved, and he
Like
he
what? He had a
he
crazy
broke out of
idea
that
and he
mold. Yeah,
pursued it.
yeah, yeah, and he got to his full potential. So
Hmm.
damn, took me back, took me back a bit. That's kind of sucky. Hmm. What were you saying, Lynn? Oh, I keep interrupting you. I keep interrupting you. I'm like, it's a
I don't
notification,
know. Maybe I was talking about being hungry because I am.
man.
I I'm looking at the time. I might cut it short today.
All right, if you want to cut it short, we did an hour. We'll be back Tuesday. Hopefully, there's no other plans in
Hmm.
the pipe. Um, so we'll get on our Tuesday show. We'll talk current affairs. Is that what we're doing for Tuesday, or we're just doing any topic? I feel like
No,
Tuesday is
we're
a
not.
heated one.
Like,
I
I
feel
don't
like it's
want to talk
heated.
about
Lately,
like
it's been heated.
events or like.
But we got to because if listen, if we really want to have an impact on society, we got to address society's issues. We
That's
have to.
true.
We have to talk about what's going out there.
Mm.
And not only do we have to talk about it, we got to be the voice of logic because I feel like a lot of these guys they get on their soapbox and they keep saying these buzzwords and they're like, there's no concept behind that.
Right.
So it's like you got. It's funny because a lot of the memes, like if you see the memes out there, I love the memes because the
Mm.
memes kill it with logic, but in a like funny way. And so it's like the things that you like, what that doesn't make any sense. Why are you saying that? And then you see a meme that kind of captures everything. You're like, oh, I love this meme. Perfect.
Mm.
I'm telling you, mark my words, 100 years from now, they're gonna be like, there was a social culture war, and the side that memed the best was the side that won. They're gonna literally say meme warfare. They're gonna study that. They're gonna study the psychology of meme warfare. That's gonna be a class in universities come the future. It's like meme 101 because it's gonna change people's perspective. I believe so.
Mm.
I feel like you could listen. You can go in an argument. You can go on a rant, and people are gonna look at you as, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist or you're a right winger or whatever whatever labels. But then you
Mm.
send them a meme and you send them a couple of memes, and they're like, haha, yeah, that's funny. And I was like, why was it funny? And then that's how you engage that conversation.
Right.
It's like, I'm telling you, memes, man. All right, that's my random memes. You ready to jump off of this? You out of here?
Yeah, I guess. Oh, not didn't mean to do that.
All
No, I had a thought. I have to get back to it because I was listening to you. All right. So I was thinking about a connection I made between like just the desensitization that they're creating with all these events, um these mass shootings, these mass deaths,
mm-hmm.
and with them, I felt like they were definitely trying to push an angle when Ukraine first happened of like, oh my God, how is this happening in like a country that looks like us?
Mm.
as far as like not looking like a third world country. It looked more like developed, and they were suffering these mass casualties. So I'm just
Which
wondering,
I
like,
find,
what are we being desensitized to? Where is
I
this
feel,
going?
I feel like that's such a horrible thing to say. And like, I'm not saying you in general. I'm just saying like
Hmm.
just us as Americans in general. Like people care about Ukraine because, like you said, they look like us.
Yeah.
But yet you have all these third world countries that are struggling harshly, right? But these stories don't make the news. People don't really care. Why? Because they're not developed. Because they don't
Hmm.
look like us. That's like so. Isn't that like that's literally like what you
That's
know?
part of that shallowness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's so
Like
like.
I see the entitlement of like the US entitlement when I travel
Mhm.
abroad. Like when I
Oh
see
yeah.
other like tourists, the way they behave and the just it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and it really like shames me that like
Hmm.
that's the representation that other countries are experiencing.
Right, right, right. And it's funny because like us as Americans, we think we have this worldly view, but yet none of us, the majority of us, we don't leave the U.S. We haven't
Yeah.
traveled. We haven't seen the world. We don't
Yeah.
know what people are going through, and we don't know like one thing I was always told was like, oh my God, America has a bad reputation around the world. But yet, when you go to, these other countries, they're like, at least when I went and I traveled, a
Hmm.
lot of these places, especially in Europe, they're like, yo, we're going through the same thing. We're
Yeah.
going through the same thing. And then, like, I've been hearing stuff from like Chinese citizens who are saying, like, don't give up on your guns because, the next thing is you're going in, your government will turn their back against you,
Mm.
right? And it's crazy, like how you see all these things right now that are hitting the news, all these headlines, and it's like we're going into an election year, right?
Hmm.
We have one of the most like I would say one of the most decisive, one of the most argued, one of the most uh, politically sparked years in 2020, right?
Hmm.
And like some people believe, it was the most corrupt election. Some people believe, oh my God, it was, they're both sides, right? Both sides, and they're very fired up right now, right?
Hmm.
And then you see, like, we're going into this election here, election year in 2022. It sounds like things are going to shift to another side. And then you see all these narratives, or not narratives, but all these headlines start coming out.
Hmm.
And it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, like, what are we going, where are we going with all this?
Yeah.
Because, like, in
It's like all the
2020, it was
breadcrumbs.
like,
It's like all the breadcrumbs. Like, oh, I see this happening over here, and this is happening over here, and it doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't all fit yet, but
hmm
we'll see. In the
yeah. And
future,
it's
like, it's just gonna have to unfold the way it's unfolding.
right, right. But it's scary because the last time this happened 2 years ago, right? We
Hmm.
had Kofi, we had BLM riots, right? We had all this stuff going on, and it like we see the outcome now, right?
Right.
Even with the stimulus, I told all these people, I was like, that shit ain't free money. That shit's they're
Right.
gonna tax you eventually.
Where
And
is it
look at how
coming
they
from?
tax us, and look at where it's coming from. Look at the tax now. You're getting taxed
Hmm.
by inflation. You're getting taxed at the pump. You're getting taxed like that money. They're getting that money back
Yeah.
and tenfold. They're getting it with interest. It's like you know what? Our government's like a loan shark. You see those movies with the loan shark where they give you the loan and they got like a 20% big or whatever. That's what's happening right
Hmm.
now. It's like, yo, you want free money? Okay, here's free money. But now we're gonna raise everything up. So
Right.
it's like I don't know. It's really interesting to watch.
Hmm.
And like people are getting, bottomed out, zeroed out. And that's why I want to get on here and try to save some people by saying, look, if you do get zeroed out, as long as you're still breathing, you still got a second chance.
Hmm.
You got a chance to
Yep.
relive, you got a chance to figure everything out, you got a chance to bounce back and be better than you were before. You know, I love
Hmm.
that hero's journey. That's why I love movies. I love watching that hero's journey, and I like to see the phoenix coming from the ashes, like you did. You're a prime example of that. When your house burnt
Yeah.
down, you didn't have insurance, and what did you do? You rebuilt, and now
Rebuilt
you
it.
are doing this show live in your bedroom. When at one point in your life, it had no windows. It was all soot. It was all dirty. It was all nasty. And now look how vibrant
Yeah.
it is. There's still life there, right? Right?
Yeah.
Because it still had good bones. There was still a foundation. And you picked yourself back up, right?
Yeah. Just have to patch it up.
And I don't think you would be able to do that if you weren't strong in here. And
Agreed.
that's what that. That's where
Agreed.
I'm getting at, where like you see all these people, and it's funny too because it's like the most attractive people too. Like the most attractive people, like you could see that they have a beautiful body. They take care of their body, and they're just amazing looking. But they're not okay here.
Hmm.
And like one little thing, you could say something, and you just see their self esteem just drop.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I seen it time and time again in guys who like they were big dudes like me. They lost a lot of weight, and
Hmm.
yet they're still not confident in themselves. Like they still see themselves as that fat guy, right? So it's like it's sad because what is it? You're just chasing. You're just chasing that carrot. We keep telling everybody, stop chasing that, child. Stop chasing that.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost
It's
Fuzz. I
also
didn't notice that.
humbling. What?
Fuzz said, "Peace, guys." Thank you, Fuzz, for joining us. I don't know if you're still watching. I just caught
Yeah, I mean, we got back into
that
another
message.
discussion,
Yeah,
so
we
he
did.
may
We
have
did. We
stayed.
got back
He
in.
may
All right.
still be
Yeah. He's
here.
like, oh,
Like,
let's still
oh,
going. We know what we are. Every episode, we're like the Lord of the Rings because we're like, oh, we're gonna cut it here, and then it's like a fake ending, and then we keep going. That movie had like 5 endings. That's crazy. Hmm.
it's humbling how um it's humbling when you notice how aware you are and how unaware
The rest of the
other
world is.
people are.
Yeah.
Especially in the moment when somebody's like angry and yeah, it's like,
Yep.
like you're able to like keep your calm. You're not going to be, your energy, you're not allowing that energy to,
Right.
absorb you because you see that it's not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's actually weird to say to somebody like, "Look, I can't really do this with you right now. You're like you're coming with too much negative energy, and I don't want that in my life right now." Like it's really weird to
Hmm.
say that to somebody because they're like, "Wait, what?" But you're not listening to the words. I'm like, listen, you have a message, you have something to say, and that's great, but you got to change your energy. So you can come back
Right.
a little later when you have a different vibe, and then I'm willing to listen.
Hmm.
But it's I don't know. Society's really rampant on emotions right now, and there's no
Yeah.
controlling that emotion because once again, emotions are elevated. There's no controlling it. It's all being run by, you know, negative energy. So but you know what? I do have hope. I do have hope. I have hope that fast forward, things are going to be different 10 years from now. I think I see more and more people are getting tired of all of it.
Hmm.
Like especially here in the States, here in America, people are getting tired of the whole like decisiveness or how not decisiveness, how we're all so divided, right? We're all
Hmm.
divided as a society. We're so many reasons, men going after women, gays going after straights, blacks and whites. Like it's just enough of this. Let's all be together like we used to be back in the day, you know?
Right.
New York to give out robot companions to the elderly. Really? That's kind of cool. I
Hmm.
like that. But I just think that we should have a program where we let's look, let's go, let's help the elderly, you know? Like I
Yeah.
feel like
Honestly, our elderly should be in the homes with their family.
like we should put more I don't want to say rewards, but I think we should have more um more yeah, I'm looking at as like a young kid coming out of high school. They have no direction, right?
Hmm.
And there should be like more opportunities if you do volunteer work. That's what I was trying to say. So it's like, all right, as me as a volunteer, I do volunteer work, and now you're opening doors by giving me like a stipend for college or something like that, right? So now you're helping me with school, or you're treating me, teaching me a trade or something on my like that. And the way I pay for it is through time, and through that time, I volunteer, with like soup kitchens, or I volunteer, helping taking care of the elderly, or I feel like we need to engage more and get back to more being, part of that community. Like we're always saying, we got to be part of that community.
Yeah.
And how do we engage, these kids to stop thinking about themselves and start thinking about, hey, get back to your community. I think we got to incentivize them. We got to say, hey, look, that's how the military does it. The military's like, yo, you want to join the military? No, I don't want to put my life on the line. Okay, well, what if we give you 50 grand for college? Okay, that sounds like a deal. All right, let's do that. Oh, and I'm gonna get paid too. Okay, cool. All right, I'll do that. It's like I
Hmm.
think we need to start doing stuff like that, like programs where it's like incentivize the youth to say, "Hey, volunteer your time." Like I know, like hospitals do that. Hospitals like, "Hey, we'll pay for your training, but once you get your degree, you got to like do 3 years at our hospital."
Right.
Isn't like New Rochelle like that? Like their nursing programs like that? Like they'll pay for the full, you'll get a full ride, but then you got to give them like 4 years working for them, something like
I don't
that.
know. I don't know.
I've heard hospitals do that, and that's great. That's like, look, you know, I we need you because we need we need nurses, right? We always need nurses,
Hmm.
and you need us because you don't want this, $200,000 worth of debt.
Right.
So I think we need more stuff like that. We need more programs like that.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's like you teach, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to
Hmm.
fish, you feed him for a lifetime.
Feed them for a
And like
lifetime,
that,
yeah.
that's a perfectly fair deal. Like, hey, like we'll educate you, we'll teach you how to do this, but you have to commit to X amount of years.
Hmm.
Um, and like 4 is not bad. 4 years, psh, that flies by.
Yeah, especially when you're young. Yeah, that flies by real quick.
What?
But that goes back to Fuzz's comment where it was like, um, it sounded cool on the surface, like, oh yeah, that's cool that they're gonna give robot companions to the elderly. But I'm like, man, did it really get that bad? Did it
Hmm.
really get that bad that we're so disconnected that we just cut off from a whole generation because
Right.
what they got old? Like that's
Hmm.
crazy. That's crazy. Where it should be something where it's like, hey, you gotta, call it a mentorship program where these kids, part of their, hey, you want this grant for school? Cool. You need to go volunteer time and you got to go. And then even have them like write a paper afterwards. What did you learn? So you have those conversations, you have those engaging conversation with the elderly. And
Hmm.
now the elderly is not alone. They have, somebody to talk to, right? They feel needed because that's one
Right.
thing. That's one thing. When you lose your purpose in life, you lost everything. That's where people give up because they don't have a purpose. That's why I could see people hit rock bottom and then they're like,
Hmm.
"But I have a purpose," and they could pick themselves back up. Like with
Right.
you, your house burnt down, and your purpose at that time was, "I need a home for my kids."
Yeah.
As a mother, I need a home. So you had no choice but to build back up.
Hmm.
Where I think if you were single, you didn't have your kids, you'd be like, I didn't have a purpose. I like, fuck it, I don't
Yeah, I'd
need
be
this
like,
home. Yeah, foreclosed, whatever. You could take the house, and it'd be like the one right
well,
next to
that
you that's all
sucked.
burnt down. Yeah, right, right. So it's like I feel like people need their purpose, and the fact that
Yeah.
we just cut off a generation because they got old is just to me, it's just sad. It's heartbreaking.
Hmm.
It's heartbreaking. That goes back to the whole topic where we're like loneliness. Like I don't think people will truly be lonely when they feel like they still have a purpose.
Hmm.
Like yes, you may be alone, but you're not lonely because you're fulfilling that purpose.
Hmm.
If that
But
makes
also,
any sense.
also with the loneliness, I don't think, obviously it's not like a one, answer kind of thing because loneliness
Hmm.
can happen at any point, like whether
Yes,
you're surrounded by loved
I
ones or
agree.
not.
I agree. I agree. Like I've heard people where they're happily married and yet they're still alone.
Hmm.
And they got to talk those issues out. There's
Yeah.
unresolved issues that they got to air out, grievance that they got to resolve.
Hmm.
And they're
Because if,
alone
if you
because they're
don't
still
feel if you
replaying
don't
that in
feel
their head.
heard and you don't feel understood by the
Hmm.
people around you, like you're going to feel lonely.
Right.
You're going to
But
feel
it's
like,
all
damn, am I the only one who thinks like this? Like, is it's all in my
right.
mind?
But it's not
Hmm.
just that either. It's also like sometimes we'll go through a tragic event that we just don't heal from and move on.
Hmm.
And like sometimes people need that healing. Like, once again, like I said, we're not doctors, we're not psychiatrists, but I've read where people do believe like all this anxiety, depression, all the stuff that people are suffering, that's all
Hmm.
an underlying cause. And if they address that cause, they wouldn't have to be medicated.
Hmm.
And I've heard people who actually go and they were on depression, they were suffering from PTSD, they were popping 3 4 pills a day, going through all that stuff, and they'll go and they'll say, this one guy, he wanted to get away from all that stuff, right? So he went and he did the ayahuasca trip, and he went through and he addressed head on through that trip that trauma that was haunting him.
Mm.
And so he kind of healed that himself, inside of himself, and he was able to step away from all that stuff
Mm.
and be a different person. Now he's living healthy. He's not on none of those prescription. He doesn't do any drugs. He doesn't drink. He's just clean, happy, living a great life.
Mm.
And then there's people who just, they're on that for life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of stories when you hear about PTSD, they don't really make it. They end up killing themselves. And that to me is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking because if there's
They
like
get
just it
lost in
was
their
like
own mind.
right, they do. They do. It's like they just needed a way back. So, but I'm done ranting. You keep pulling me back in. I'm done ranting. You want to go eat? um, but it's funny because it's like you're like, all right, we're gonna jump off, and then like something sparks in you, and you're like, but what's your thought on this? And then I start ranting for another 20 minutes. Today was a great show. I'm very happy. I jumped on. We missed Tuesday. I was kind of bummed about it. And we jumped on, and it was just very engaging. A lot of talks, like there was short talks, short talks about a certain topic, but it just really makes you want to think.
Yeah.
Getting lost in your dreams, getting lost in your emotions. It's all about, putting your emotions in check.
Hmm. Your thoughts create your feelings create your actions create your results. Starts
So,
with your mind.
with that said, with your mind and how you control your emotions, how do you feel that taps into being alone and loneliness? Like, is it
How do
all
I feel
just a
what?
state of mind? How do you feel it ties into alone and being lonely? Is that just all a state of mind with after what you just said?
Mm. I think loneliness is definitely a state of mind. Which is why, like once you do address certain things, people can continue on without, relying on drugs or, medications, whatever it is that they need, in the past, because it is in your mind, like it's your mind frame. It's what you have on repeat in your mind all day. Like, are you paying attention to
Hmm.
those things? Are you, actively trying to change those things? Or is
Hmm.
it just happening and you're just completely unaware that it's going on in there?
Right.
It's honestly like we all should be taught how to do like mind work, how to, regain control of our minds, what kind of like thought processes we should be going through. It's not something that we're taught.
Yeah, and I'm scared because they seem like they want to like talk about that now, but they're doing it in that victim mentality mindset, and that
Hmm.
scares me because I feel like people are going to be more medicated. Like I feel like
Mm.
that what's going to drive it is like what we considered, just normal stress 5 years ago, and I was like, hey, suck it up and live through it. People are
Uh-huh.
going to be like, oh, there's a mental breakdown now. I need to be medicated. So
Mm.
it's kind of really scares me when I see these conversations leaning towards, hey, mental, let's talk about mental, and I know where they're going to lead it because
Right.
whenever a conversation comes up in society, for whatever reason, we want to put that victim mentality behind it.
Hmm.
So I think it's just going to make society even more weaker. I think.
Mm.
I think until we actually address it in a way of like, hey, let's not be a victim from our mental flaws. Let's strengthen ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's work on this. I don't know. That's just me.
All
I
right.
have hope. I have hope though.
Well,
You
we're
gotta
gonna
have
wrap
hope.
it up. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Have a great
Um,
weekend.
I I
Memorial Day
always forget that
weekend.
like we're going into the weekend.
Yes, it's. Oh wait, one more comment. One more comment. What's that? Everything you think, do, and say is the pill you took today. Yes, there you go.
Mm.
Amen. Live for today. Live for the
Yep.
day because tomorrow's not promised. So, I always say if you're better today than you were yesterday, you're on the right path. Just
Right.
keep on that. And it's okay to go backwards.
And if
Just
you're
keep
not,
remembering.
if you're not, do better tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why you just keep living each day and saying, I'm better today than I was tomorrow. That's it. Or
Hmm.
yesterday. That's all it is. Don't try to be better from last week. Don't try to hold yourself on all that because then that's when you start diving into, the negative doubts and the negative talk and it holds you down. Just
Hmm.
take it one day at a time. One day at a time. But yeah, it's a Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys all get a 4-day weekend, if not a 3-day weekend. and hopefully you got good weather and just get out and start barbecuing, hitting a pool. Everything's opening up, Lynn. Everything's opening up.
Everything you think, do, and say is in the pills you took today, means your medication will control you. Mm,
Oh, you meant you thought about it, and yeah, I'm scared of that too. Like, is there agenda
yeah.
with all this whole mental health talk, and are they gonna try to keep us, passive? And I don't know. I feel like pills and medication, it messes up with your biology, right? You see a lot of people just out of whack, especially like birth control pills. Like, it's just, I feel like that's not natural. Like, you take these things, it's altering your mind. Like, are you just pacifying yourself? Are you just going to be killing your creativity? Like, it's okay to be different. I don't know why we all want to be the same. Be different. Embrace who
Mhm.
you are. Be wacky. Be
Wait, I'm so
crazy.
confused. You threw birth
Be a
control pills in
weirdo.
there?
Yeah, birth control pills is they're saying that it's what's causing like a lot of depression.
Hmm.
I saw memes like women are saying that, like, hey, you know, what was it? The meme I saw, it was something where she was like, I had to be more sexually active to find myself. So then, in being more sexually active, I ended up going on birth control, which made me less wanting to be sexual. And it was like just this vicious like cycle. So then,
Hmm.
because she was on the birth control pills, right? Then she ended up going to getting antidepressant because she was depressed, and it was like just a vicious cycle. That's not natural. You suppressing your body like that, that's not natural. And I could see the mental and physical, outcome of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I
it is
mean,
what it is.
it's hard because really, like, what are your alternatives? Like, I feel like in our society we're pressured to have a high sex drive. It's almost like, like they make
That's
you feel like something's wrong with you if you don't.
But yeah, but once again, what does that all lead to? What does that all tie into? That all leads into the breakdown of the nuclear family, right? That breaks down to
Hmm.
the household. Once again, I told you this. When you have a high sex count, you were like, "Oh, sex count shouldn't matter." Yes, it
Hmm.
should, because when you have a high sex count, that person has programmed themselves that whenever something goes wrong, I'm out.
Hmm.
There's no coping. There's no pair bonding. Why? Because there's alternatives. They live in that lifestyle of abundance. So they're like, hey, look, you know what? I have multiple partners. You're not working with me. It's not working out. I'm dipping to the next one. And this is why all these marriages are breaking down. So I don't see. Listen, on both sides of the spectrum, men and women, I've seen a lot of people have high sex counts, and at the end of the day, they say that they feel a sense of emptiness.
Hmm.
They feel a sense of not completed. Like, after a while, I've heard stories from men in the whole pickup community where they learn pickup and they learn how to, engage with women and be the player that they always wanted to be. And then they get this high sex count, and then they're like, what then? They're like,
Right.
all right, what now? They fast forward and they're like, I still feel alone. I slept with a lot of women, but I feel alone because I don't. It's not natural. It's not supposed to be like that.
Hmm.
I think there's a reason why we're programmed naturally to find what love, right? We're programmed for that, right? We're like, oh, I'm drawn to that, right? So how are you gonna find that when you're just going in and out, just like multiple partners, all of the same, just bouncing around? You can't find that.
Right.
So that's my thought on that. Any number 10, go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you after the weekend. Have a great holiday weekend.
All right, guys. Love you.